Hello, my name is Morgan Prost, and this is my Leadership Capstone Seminar presentation on Taylor Industrial Electronics Tariff Implementation Plan. This presentation will consist of four main sections. The first, I will talk about the paper's contents. The second is the finalized project, which will be presented as though it was being presented to the managerial staff for Taylor Industrial Electronics from the perspective of their senior management position. And then the 4 R's of reflection, reflecting on the project's overall success and what I have learned from this experience. And then lastly, my mentor feedback. For this final project paper, I covered many sections of information detailing the scope of the project all the way through the mentor feedback, which is in Appendix B, and lastly, the final reflections from the 4 R's of reflection, which can be seen in the Appendix E of the paper. This was the largest paper that I have written so far. I really felt as though it pulled together everything that I had learned in this program, and it was a great exercise to really just tie everything together from the beginning of the first Foundations of Academic Success program, introduction to this program, to this Leadership Capstone course. So like I had said, the finalized project section of this presentation is going to be presented from the perspective of whoever the lead manager is that would be implementing this plan, given to the managers of each branch location. So we're going to talk about what are we doing, why are we doing this, how will we approach this. We're going to look at the rationale and reasonings behind our thoughts. What about you is where we're going to talk about how it plays, how the managers play a role in this implementation plan. We're going to talk about some motivators and then obstacles that we're going to need to overcome. And then lastly, the outcome of the finalized project. So what are we doing here today? I've gathered you all together to talk about a policy that we are going to be implementing that is going to help us recuperate some of the losses that we've incurred over the last year or so from tariffs. So every organization goes through periods of change. Some are brought on by external factors, while others, they're initiated from within. For us in this situation, this tariff has been an external factor, and we've done our best to manage it since they first were charged. So the change that we're going to be working on implementing, and I'm going to be talking to you about today, is a new policy that we're going to be passing along the costs of the tariff that we have been charged over the last year. We're no longer going to be absorbing that. So this will be effective for all products that are being purchased out of China. Taylor is one of the last companies that are going to be passing along these costs. This has helped us grow our business in some ways, but we're not seeing the results that we were hoping for. So we are going to be making this decision mostly out of business necessity. This goal that we're going to be trying to come through here on is to implement this plan, but we're going to focus on the customer and we're going to focus on making sound business decisions. So some of you may be asking, why are we doing this? Over the past year and a half, Taylor has been known as the tariff-free zone. However, in doing this, we have not been able to see the growth that we've been hoping to see, and we've lost $8.1 million in net profits to absorbing the tariffs. So we have some speculations as to why our prices are not good enough to bring in this new business. And we really truly believe it's because that our competitors, depending on who the manufacturer is, have better special pricing agreements than we do. So because of this, even if we don't add the tariffs, they're able to still sell it at a better price than we are. So if we continue to absorb these tariff charges, there's going to be little to gain from it. And if we stop, there's going to be little to lose. So the reason why that is because just like Our competitors have better special pricing from some manufacturers. We also have better special pricing than they do. So this really turns our weakness into our strength. So because we're unable to gain new business due to others having better special pricing agreements with some manufacturers, at least at the same time, we won't lose business over this due to our own special pricing agreements. So the only thing that we have to lose by not doing this is future profits. Well, now how are we going to approach this? The whole attitude and purpose behind the original decision to absorb the tariffs was that we were wanting to provide value to our customers to grow the business. The trade war has continued to go on, and there is speculation as to when it will come to an end. However, it is my vision to continue to try to provide value to our customers while slowly passing along the cost of the tariff over the course of the year. You might be asking yourselves, well, how are we going to do that? Sounds like this is a lose-lose for our customer. Well, I will be addressing some of the programs that we can offer them to maybe offset this as we continue along. This is not going to be a one and done decision, though. We are going to slowly increase it over the course of a year, which will be done quarterly. This will allow customers time to plan and adjust accordingly for the fiscal toll that it will take on their business. Also, we are kind of hoping that it may go away before the end of the year, in which case we will no longer have to pass along this tariff charge at all. There are a few major concerns that we want to address, and we will do those both individually. The largest concern is, are we going to lose business over this? We have thought deeply about that, and again, kind of making our weakness our strength here. We have better special pricing agreements with some of our manufacturers than our competitors do. So even by adding in the cost of the tariff, we are going to still be more competitive than our current competition, who, by the way, is also selling it with the full cost of the tariff added in. In order to hide our costs, we are not going to disclose how much our tariff charge is being increased. Another way to hide our costs will be to adjust the markup charge on the cost of the tariff. There's been some disagreement as to whether there should be a markup charge to this item itself. However, it was concluded by me, the president, and the CEO and board of directors that this is to be calculated in as part of the true cost. As to how much will be marked up is to be determined by the managing team and their sales staff. Well, what do we need from you? In the spirit of our original intention, we wanted to provide value for our customers. And we totally understand that all of our customers will not be fully prepared for this kind of a change. That is why we are putting a fair amount of autonomy in this decision when it comes to how the tariff charge will be passed along and how much of the market will be applied. The goal here is to stop the hemorrhaging of our profits from these tariffs without disrupting our customers with a sudden decision to fully apply this tariff charge. Every individual knows the needs of their customers better than any manager, any president, and CEO. That is why the decision has been left to the discretion of the individual sales rep as you work together with you, the managing team. By allowing for this, we really are hoping to empower you, the individual sales rep, because you alone know what your customers' needs, and you are vital to the success of this transition as we begin implementing this change. So what's in it for you? What's in it for your sales reps? Well, we've thought about that too, and during the course of the next year, there is going to be some awards that will be given to those who are taking this seriously and are gaining business and keeping business. So during the next year, we're going to be doing an initial account review. This will be done by each branch manager for every location. Each manager is to go over the sales reps' accounts with them and look to see what parts are currently being purchased that have a tariff on them, and also look at what potential parts could be coming in the next year that would have a tariff on them. After doing this initial assessment, we're going to look at how the change will impact each individual customer, and then we're going to make a plan as to how we are going to apply these tariffs charges. There's also going to be a secondary plan around how much to increase the cost, which is going to be passed along over the course of the next year. After every quarter, this plan will be reassessed and we will assess the progress. There will be awards given for whichever branches have the lowest amount of tariff charges that are being absorbed. And then there will be awards that will be gifted as a bonus that will be determined by the branch manager as to how the breakdown of the award will be given to their team. This will be done quarterly until the staff has been successfully able to pass along the tariffs to our customers. Now, there most certainly will be obstacles to overcome as we begin to implement this. It will be more difficult for our larger customers. We have some customers that do tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and then we have those customers that do millions with us. For those that do the millions, it will be the most difficult. It's going to be our goal to find ways to offset these expense increases by looking for other ways to provide value for our customers. The whole point here is to increase what we are passing along with tariff charges, but at the same time, looking for ways to provide value to our customers in other ways. This is going to take some dedication out of our sales staff to find the needs of our customers and work with them to provide innovative solutions. What are we hoping to achieve through making this change? At the beginning of this plan, the notion was mentioned that we want to provide value to our customers. The decision at the beginning, when we had first talked about absorbing the cost of this tariff, we had made that decision with the thought of the tariffs not being around for very long. However, the reality is that it's continued this long, and it looks as though it's going to continue for some time. With the hopes that this will be gone within the next year, possibly, the decision to pass along the tariffs was made in hopes to recuperate some of the losses we've had over the last year. But at the same time, we are hoping that the tariff will be gone before the end of the year when we will be charging the full price of the tariff. So this has been made that there's some fear that Chinese companies will increase their costs after the tariff goes away. However, we do not believe that is the case. The whole purpose behind applying the tariff charges in the first place was so that they would artificially inflate the cost of Chinese products. This was done in a way that was designed to push business to other countries and to also bring manufacturing jobs back to the United States, and it is doing so effectively. So with that logic, it would not make sense, and it would not be in China's best interest to continue to charge the higher prices after the tariffs go away. Otherwise, they would risk being outpriced and outmatched by quality from other competitors. So to make this change stick at the end of the year, we will be applying the full cost of the tariff with various markup prices to the individual customers in order to hide our costs. And then we will continue to enforce this policy until the tariff charges are renegotiated and dissolved. Now to talk about the level of accomplishment from this project. This project was hypothetical, and it was used as an exercise of the elements that we have learned in leading change in this program overall. From every single course, I felt as though it helped contribute to what my plan eventually became. I was unable to implement this plan for several reasons, primarily because I'm no longer with the company, but also I wouldn't have been able to implement it for the whole company. I would have just used it for my own, the way that I managed my own customers and perhaps maybe a few other people in our branch, just to see how it would have worked and if it would have been effective. Now let's move on to looking at the 4 R's of reflection: recollection, reaction, relevance, and responsibility. For recollections, weekly I had worked on the paper. I started with the body of the paper and then built it from there. I met with my mentor several times for guidance, and I worked out the details with her and took her advice and put it into my final project. My mentor was really a great encouragement for me throughout this class. I had several doubts about my plan, but she said it was well thought out, and if it was implemented, it would have been successful. So that was very reassuring to hear from her. For reaction, the evidence that I have documented for this plan says to me that it would have been successful if I would have had the opportunity to implement it. I really feel as though that the idea of providing value to customers should be the highest priority, but at the same time, you have to be making tactful and smart business decisions. This plan, I think, really took a look at both of those factors, and I worked to just provide the best solution available given the circumstance. For relevance, the facts and feelings of this project, I felt as though were relatable to what an effective managerial practice should really embody. Without the insights from this class and this program, I really feel as though I would not have been able to conceptualize the plan that I had created for this implementation. This project really pushed the limits of what I knew, and it forced me to apply what I've learned in new ways. This is meaningful to me because it shows me that I can take what I've learned from the beginning of this program and confidently apply it to the work that I do now. This has had a nice impact on me, and I feel as though I didn't really notice it at first. At the beginning of this project, I felt as though I was trying to just hit these checkpoints. But then when I got to the end, I saw how I had really beautifully brought everything together and really organized my thoughts well into a formulated plan. I now see new possibilities to expand upon what I've already learned in this program and how I applied it to this project. And then the biggest perspective change from this project is uh, how I view the way the tariff charges were affecting the company and as well as how they were affecting the economy. Lastly, responsibility. The new insights that I've gained from this project and from this program, I can now take and use it in my new position and in other jobs that I might hold in the future. I really need to continue to expand on my knowledge and how financial decisions can have an effect on the business and the economy at large. I can look to other professional resources to continue this search for knowledge. And then the next steps to implementing what I've learned is to use it to help guide me in leading others through organizational change. I still look to refine my knowledge that I've gained from this project and from this program. At the beginning of this program, we did an introduction for our mentor. Just to recap on that, my mentor was Tammy Kappas. She is a wonderful lady. She has 32 years of industry experience in the electrical components sales industry. She worked for NEP Electronics for those 32 years, and then she recently came on board shortly before I left, actually, at Taylor Industrial and Master Electronics. So together, we worked very closely managing higher level accounts, and she's given me just wonderful feedback throughout this entire program and this for these final two classes. Over the course of the last 6 weeks, me and Tammy had talked over the phone several times. Being in Florida made it a little more challenging for us to meet, but we made it work. At the beginning, we talked about how changes should be done within larger organizations and that it should have been done in a way that was fair to the staff. Tammy also talked about how important it is to give praise to individuals who deserve it and to also take corrective action with those who need it. Halfway through the project, she really encouraged me to avoid the stress that can be brought on from procrastination. She reminded me about how being proactive was a strength that she had noticed while working with me. The best piece of advice that she gave me for this project was to be genuine in my thoughts that I was portraying in the paper. She said that sometimes when you're taking on big monumental projects, it can be easy to get distracted and just go through the motions. She encouraged me to focus and be honest in my analysis and to just discuss what I thought was the best course of action that we should have taken with these tariffs. At the end of the project, she encouraged me to see the light at the end of the tunnel and to put my best efforts forward to finish strong.